Good morning everybody, and welcome to my little driving tour today. Alright, so here I am. My name's Gilbo Baggers on Instagram. Don't know how all this is going to turn out, just because my first ever real attempt at this moto vlogging stuff. Hi Pat. Another fellow rider of mine who haven't been out with yet, because I've only just bought this bike. Now, it's been 2 Fridays since I have bought this bike. Whew. I don't know what that smell was, probably from that big truck. Hope it was from that big truck. Might just pull over and have a little look-see up here at their Rissole. This is the sort of riding I've been wanting to do anyway, is just a little bit more slow stuff. Been out on the open roads a bit, gotten used to the weight of the bike. Not me. Must have been that truck that had that burning rubber stinky smell. Alright, anyway, take 2. Here we go. Alright, take 2. Going for a little ride. It's a Friday, finished work late last night, so I have to have 10 hours break in between my shifts by law, so what better way to spend the time than actually getting out on the new bike. I purchased this 2017 Road Glide 2 Fridays ago when delivery was taken, and I have loved every minute of being out on this puppy. I've put nearly 1,000 kilometers on in this couple of weeks. Just little short trips here and there. Go for a ride up to one of our favourite little suburbs on the peninsula, and there's 50 k's each way. I've done that a few times. Done a bit of freeway riding. Done just regular everyday riding. And today I'm going to do just a little bit of short, how would you say, sort of car park low speed riding, because I haven't done that just yet. I've been doing the bigger rides, getting out, doing the 60, 70, 100 k zones, just getting used to the overall weight of the bike. And I feel pretty comfortable with that, hitting the curves, and you know, feel confident in that. But it's just the slow speed stuff that I am lacking in the ability of. I say ability, I can still get around, but I'm one of these people that I don't like to put my feet down. I don't like to drag my feet, and I find myself, maybe I'm a little harsh on myself, but I don't like it when you see people dragging their feet from an intersection or from more the parking areas and that. You just look like a tool. So I noticed when I had my wife on the back that I tended to drag my feet a little bit while we were at lower speeds, and it's just getting used to the balance of the thing, but still, there's no excuse. Hello rider, good morning. So yeah, that's what the plan is for today. So a little brief history on the motorcycles that I owned. I got my license for my 21st birthday as a gift to myself. Contrary to what my mum thinks it was a stupid idea, I think it was a fantastic idea, but yeah, she didn't like the idea. And briefly after, well actually before I got my license, it was only about a month before, I bought a Yamaha Virago 250. Now I don't know about the rest of the world, but here in Australia they are a good little learner bike, and they are bulletproof. I bought the thing for $3,500 off this little Italian bloke up in one of the suburbs of Melbourne. And when I say little Italian bloke, he was a little Italian bloke. He was aged about 23 years old, and the sort of thing that you don't do. You're told don't buy things off young people because they don't look after them. But this bike was in good nick. The only thing was that he had dropped it, being a little 250 and a learner bike, and there was a bit of a bit of gutter rash on the exhaust pipe, but other than that the bike was immaculate. So paid $3,500 for that thing, and then when I sold it, a bloke from Tasmania bought it, and he paid $3,500. So I got about 2 years use out of that. And it was such a small bike. I'm a bigger bloke, I'm 5'10", and at the time I was around about 120 kilos, so yeah, that was light for me back then. So I was a big boy on a little bike, and it just looked stupid. So from there the upgrade came, and the upgrade came in the form of a 96 Heritage Softail. Bought it off a family friend, very good family friend, and knew it was well looked after. Had 16,000 Ks when I bought it back in, I'd like to say 2009 and 2010 approximately, and it was very well looked after, been maintained to the T, and yeah, I knew the owner was very fastidious with it. So I love that bike. It was fantastic. It did me well. Only thing it cost me was a service. I didn't put many Ks on it just because I did little short trips on it, and you know, occasionally did the odd 4 or 5 hour journey up the hills far away. And yeah, that was a great bike to step into the Harley Davidson world. I've loved Harleys ever since I was a kid, so you know, it would be ridiculous if I got anything else. So time came to sell the Heritage. I did not want to, but time to be an adult once I hit 30, I guess it was 30 years old. Got to be an adult and free up a little bit of collateral, and ended up purchasing the house that I currently live in. So that was where it stood. Bought a dirt bike there for a while, a YZF 450 off a mate of mine. Ripper of a bike, scared the absolute bejesus out of me. Went out on a few rides with a few of the boys, went camping. That was fantastic, but I just never got the use out of it, just because it's such an effort to go dirt bike riding where I live. As you can see, suburbia. Over that way is the beach. It's very hard to get anywhere where you can go dirt bike riding, because down here you just can't. Which kind of sucks, because there are quite a few good spots. It's one of those things that you just end up sitting in the garage, and once again needed to free up a little bit of collateral because I was getting married. Once I sold that, the YZF 450, that was actually a really quick sell. My wife took to Facebook on that, and some bloke bought it. It was actually a bit of a disaster. That night he came in at about 8 o'clock at night. It was dark, and I thought, oh, this guy is gonna just, you know, he knew what he wanted, but it was dark. It's one of those things that you say, hey, you never buy things in the dark, you know, blah blah blah. And he even said that I don't do this, you know, I don't buy things in the dark. And I got a shed that's, you know, it's quite well lit up, but you know, you're buying a motorbike, you want to go over it, you want to be there in the daytime, get all the natural light, everything like that. So anyway, this bloke gets there and he says, oh, you know, it is what I want. kicks it over, and the thing fires up, but straight away within 5 seconds the thing just dies. And he's going over it. Oh, could be this, could be that. And I said to him, I said, mate, the last time I went for a ride, we did it was a circuit down sort of near the Hazeldean power plant down in Latrobe Valley. And I said, we did a ride for about 2.5 hours, and I didn't put any fuel in it. Maybe you should check that. Sure enough, looks in there, fuel was not there. So I come to that conclusion, that's what it was. I think he was pretty desperate for a bike, because he said, oh yeah, well I heard it fire up, well, at least it ran for 5 seconds, so I'll take it. And I thought, you beauty. So negotiated on the price, there we go, bike gone, wedding ring / engagement ring / all the good stuff that comes with being an adult was already there. As I said, freed up a little bit of collateral there. Alright, and then we got married, all that jazz. So it's been 2 years since we got married, and the other week we just happened to be driving through Dandenong, and I said to the wife, can we call into my favourite place please? Yeah, it's always a bit of a request, hey, can we just pull in here, thank you baby. Anyway, walked in there and there was 2 road glides for sale, 2 second hand. I'd never buy new. I just don't like the depreciation of new things, even though Harleys don't depreciate that much, especially these big touring bikes. But you know, I saw one that I looked, and it was in my budget of if I was actually buying a bike, and it was very cheap. But it turned out that it had been on a movie set, no modifications, no nothing. It was just for aesthetic purposes from the distance, and you know, looked fantastic from 10 foot away, but you got up close, and swirl marks and little dings and things like that. I just sort of looked and I thought, well, this isn't really, I'd like to buy one with pipes, with just, that doesn't need to be fully modified, just pipes, that's all I asked. Anyway, it turned out that it didn't have anything done to it, and I thought, well, yeah, nah, thanks guys, but no thanks. Anyway, directly opposite the salesman, Matt, he was fantastic. He pointed me in the direction of the other road glide, which was directly opposite, and I'd seen the price of that. And I said, mate, no, I don't want to spend that money, like that's, you can buy a new one for 34 grand, but the kicker was that this bike has got a stage 4 kit on it. The previous owner was quite fastidious as well, which is like me, so I thought, alright, it's got everything I need, but the price is a little bit too much. Anyway, we hashed out a few numbers. There was a couple of things I wanted on this thing. We worked out a deal. It was well within our budget, and yeah, drove away the following week. Now the story behind this bike is, it's quite interesting. The bloke purchased it. Now I looked him up on, he was actually on Instagram, a photo of him with his new bike. So the story they told me was not fake. But he purchased this bike in November last year, 2017. And so now it is April. When I bought the bike, it was the start of March. So it was 4 months old. Anyway, he got all the work done to it at the factory there at Harley Heaven. Anyway, he ended up riding it quite a lot. It did 9,000 Ks on this puppy in that short amount of time. Some people will say, oh, you're stupid, oh, it's high Ks for that, but I'm not going to do the kilometres that this guy's got. So within a year, all these kilometres are going to even out. So anyway, he did all his rides, and he popped into Peter Stevens one day and saw a nice brand new 2018 CVO Road Glide. For those who don't know what CVO is, the CVO is a custom vehicle operations, which is the absolute ducks and nuts of Harleys. And this was over $50,000, this bike. So He thought, well, I'm going to take a hit. I rushed in, bought this one a little bit too soon, but take a hit and get the bike that I actually want. And that's fair enough too. I mean, if you've got the cash, I mean, he would have lost easily on this bike $16,000 in that 4 months. Easily, or maybe, I reckon even $20,000 he would have lost, because of the dealer's got to make a little bit of money too. So some people can take that hit, some people can't. I can't, but I took advantage of someone taking that hit, and that's worked in our favour. I mean, it's just being in the right place at the right time. I mean, this has been my dream bike since 2012. I wanted a Road Glide since then. I went over to the USA and I wanted to hire a Harley while I was over there. I just did it for 2 days, rode from Los Angeles, where my mate lives there, rode from LA to San Diego on a bright yellow 2012 Road Glide. It had about 800 kilometers on it, 800 miles should I say at the time. And this bike, it was just heaven on a stick for me. I mean, from going from the 96 Heritage to that thing, well, worlds apart, worlds apart. So I really just fell in love with that. Didn't love the colour, don't get me wrong, I hated the yellow, but the bikes ever since I've loved. I thought one day I'll do it, and you know, the time is right. I said to the wife, pull the trigger, let's do it. So here we are, and this is why we are here doing this moto vlog on a 2017 Harley Davidson Road Glide. Right, on that note, I'm going to end this. Thanks again for watching, really appreciate it. I'm going to keep doing more of this if it turns out well, and if it doesn't turn out well, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. I enjoy this. This is good fun. I'm not just going to talk about bikes, I'm going to be talking about everyday regular stuff. So thanks again guys, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you next time.